So, I'd like to first point out some interesting things about the figure of Jesus. He appears as a preacher, appearing in synagogues and in groups. He functions as a healer, miracle worker, and casts out demons. In the Gospel of Mark, the famous 1:5, there's the teaching of the baptism for the repentance for the remission of sins. And the key word is repentance, which of course means to turn the mind around, to turn the inner mind around. But the bulk of the teachings of the Gospel of Mark is that Jesus is not preaching for repentance. And he is specifically holding back teaching repentance. And I want to get back to that in a few minutes. His followers, the inner circle, the disciples, he brings them into the same role that he has. They too go out and preach. He assigns them the healing function and cast out demons. And they preach for repentance. He doesn't, they do. Now, we have to see that role of repentance in Jesus, since so much follows from it. To do that, I want to take a look at the role he has as a teacher-preacher, because it's a very curious one, and it's in line with Cynic and Stoic teachings. As a teacher-preacher. Now, to jump into the most significant thing about the Gospel of Mark is that it is not a gospel that is central. He's not urging as a central thesis the role of belief. His primary teaching is for understanding. Now, the inner circle are given models for understanding. The people are urged to believe, because without belief, there's no miracles and no cures. So for the people, the emphasis is on belief, cure, miracles. The inner circle is on understanding. One can build an argument from the text where there's approximately, depending upon how you read it, probably 50 direct and indirect references to the role of understanding. It plays the central role in parables. Now, in the 4th chapter, Jesus takes up the parable of the sower, and he very clearly in that unfolds the parable, and you can see in the parable the usual features of a parable, which are essentially, the first one, of course, is that as a story it is extremely unlikely. It's extremely unlikely that anyone would hire a sower, such as in the sower and the seed, because he throws the seeds all over the place, on rocks, on thorns and thistles, on the road, and they finally land on a fertile field and multiply 60 and 100-fold. It's essential for a parable that it's unlikely. It's essential. It's one of the important ingredients of a parable. The second is that there must be something in the parable that is undecipherable without the person who understands the parable supplying you with the key. Therefore, it always has a key which is only known to the inner circle. And the inner circle is confined to the disciples and those about them.